Your brain never stops talking. Right now, it's probably commenting on this video, planning what you'll do later, or replaying something from yesterday. Most people think this mental chatter is helpful, that thinking through problems and analyzing situations leads to better outcomes. They think of how thought and intellect has created all the technology and innovation in the world, and how hence it should be the way to solve all our problems. But Taoism suggests the opposite. Taoism is an ancient Chinese philosophy that teaches how to live in accordance with the Tao, the underlying principle or way that governs all of existence. The more your mind interferes with the natural flow of life, the more problems it creates. With just some unbiased observation, one can see how the human brain actively distorts reality by dividing, labeling, and judging everything. In this video, we'll explore Taoist insights about why your thinking mind often works against you and what happens when you learn to trust something deeper than thought. Part 1. The Carved Block. Taoism teaches about something called the uncarved block, a piece of wood in its natural state before someone takes a knife to it. Once you start carving, you can make a bowl, a statue, or a tool, but you can never go back to the original simplicity. Your mind works like that knife. Life presents itself as a seamless whole, but your brain immediately starts carving it up. It separates good from bad, success from failure, me from you. These divisions don't exist in reality, they're mental constructions. A child sees a puddle and jumps in it. An adult sees the same puddle and thinks about wet clothes, muddy shoes, and being late. The puddle hasn't changed, the thinking has. The more your mind carves up experience into categories and problems, the further you drift from the natural simplicity of just being present with what's actually happening. Your brain convinces you that its carved up version of reality is more real than reality itself. How can we use this? Next time you feel stressed about a situation, pause and ask, what would this look like if I stopped trying to figure it out? Notice how the situation exists perfectly fine without your mental commentary about it. In other words, stop intellectualizing it. The Taoist approach is about experiencing life directly rather than through the filter of mental analysis and conceptualization. Notice the difference between immediate knowing and mental analysis. One could infer this. Your immediate knowing often feels clearer and more certain than your mental analysis, which tends to create confusion and doubt through overthinking. Part 2. The Way That Can't Be Spoken. Taoism begins with a paradox. The Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. The moment you try to capture reality in words or concepts, you've already missed it. Your brain operates entirely through language and labels. It takes the living, flowing nature of experience and freezes it into mental categories. But life doesn't actually come in the neat packages your mind creates. Think about trying to explain the color blue to someone who's never seen it. No matter how many words you use, the description isn't the actual experience of blue. The same thing happens with everything else. Your thoughts about anger aren't anger itself. Your ideas about love aren't love itself. The word isn't the thing. Your brain creates a map of reality using concepts and words, but it mistakes the map for the territory. It starts believing that its descriptions of life are more real than life itself. This is why overthinking often makes problems worse rather than better. You're trying to solve something real using something artificial, concepts trying to fix what can only be experienced directly. Here's something to try. Pick one thing to think about. It may be something you're overthinking right now. Instead of analyzing it further using thought after thought, spend 2 minutes just experiencing it without trying to understand or solve it. Notice what happens when you drop the mental commentary. When you drop the mental commentary, you often realize that most of your stress was coming from your thoughts about the situation, not the situation itself. The raw sensations are much easier to deal with than the thoughts. And suddenly, now you have access to your natural intuition about what to do. Part 3. Swimming Upstream. Taoism teaches about Wu Wei, acting in accordance with the natural flow rather than forcing your way through life. Your brain, however, loves to swim upstream. When something doesn't go according to plan, your mind immediately starts strategizing, analyzing, and trying to control the outcome. It's like trying to push a river in the opposite direction. The harder you push, the more resistance you create. Watch how your brain responds to a traffic jam. Instead of accepting that traffic exists, it starts calculating alternate routes, getting frustrated about the delay, and creating stress about being late. The traffic remains exactly the same, but your mind has turned a neutral situation into a problem that needs solving. This mental resistance creates most of your daily suffering. You're not usually upset about what's happening. You're upset about your thoughts about what's happening. The situation is flowing one way, your mind wants it to flow another way, and you get caught in the middle. Nature doesn't work this way. Water doesn't get angry at rocks. Trees don't resist the wind. They work with the forces around them rather than fighting them. Bruce Lee, who was deeply influenced by Taoist philosophy, captured this perfectly when he said, "Be like water, my friend." Water doesn't fight obstacles, it flows around them. Your mind wants to be the hammer, but Taoism suggests being the water instead. Conclusion: Taoism reveals something your brain doesn't want you to know. Most of your problems are mental constructions, not actual problems. The carved block was perfect before your mind started labeling and dividing it. The way exists before your concepts try to capture it. The natural flow continues regardless of your mental resistance. The Taoist approach doesn't call for stopping thought completely. Instead, it alludes to recognizing when thinking is helpful versus when it's just creating unnecessary complexity. When you learn to trust the natural intelligence that exists beyond your analytical mind, life becomes less effortful and more effective. We'll be exploring how other schools of thought, from ancient Stoicism to modern phenomenology, approach this same fundamental question. When should you trust your mind, and when should you trust something deeper in future videos? So subscribe and stay tuned. On to the next adventure.